Welcome to the world's first straight talk Solarcast. This is your go-to podcast for answers about solar. Brought to you by Solar Harmonics in Northern California, who invite their customers to own their energy by purchasing a solar panel system for their home, business, or farm. Each episode, we discuss questions facing people making the decision to go solar. The solutions to your questions are given to you straight by one of the leading experts in the solar industry, Jamie Duran, president of Solar Harmonics. Feel free to search our library for answers to questions that you're facing when considering solar. And now, here's Adam Duran, our host with the questions, and Jamie Duran, our solar expert with Straight Talk Solarcast.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Adam.
How's everything in the land of solar this week?
Well, lots of new drama, lots of excitement to talk about today.
Right.
How's your week going?
Good. It's getting hot out here in NorCal.
Yeah, it was over 100 out here.
Yeah.
And, we're starting to have a lot of people question their systems, and a lot of new people, not relative, are recent solar installs that are just over the moon, and 5-star review for Jamie. So that's always great.
Good.
Yeah. So we like that.
During this hot weather, the solar doesn't produce as well, right? We like it a little cooler than this.
Yeah, definitely cool and sunny is great, but we're June 21st is the summer equinox.
Oh, that's right.
So we're about 2 weeks away from that when solar hits the maximum, or pretty close to the maximum. So everyone's very excited about the output, and that's fantastic. And PG&E is very excited because most people who do not have solar or don't have enough solar are using their air conditioning like crazy. And PG&E we're now in the high rate time, which is 64 cents a kilowatt hour during the day, which is that's a lot.
So during the summer, they raise the rates specially for the summer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's called peak rates. And then there's super peak, and we're and if you're in a business, you get hit with demand charges and so forth. But
wow.
I know it's amazing time of year, but most people, are very excited that they have solar. And what I wanted to talk about today is, we have this election coming up. It's in it's about 5 months away, right?
Yeah.
So not a lot of time. And, whether you feel the candidates are not that great or not a lot of choice, I wanted to kind of talk about what is the impact, what is the projected impact on solar on either one of the candidates?
Well, there's more than two, Jamie, but okay. All right, anyway, go ahead.
The two candidates that have a chance. So first, on the Democratic side, Joe Biden. Well, we don't have Andrew Yang this time.
Yeah,
sad, but in any event, so on the Joe Biden side, there's been the Inflation Reduction Act, and actually the federal government has actually been supporting solar until recently when they put these 50% Chinese or tariffs on Asian-made and actually foreign-made solar panels.
Okay.
So that was kind of a ouch. And then, but overall, a few years ago, the tax credit was at 26% on the federal side.
Okay.
And then that got increased to 30%, and that was supposed to go to 2034. And so that was great. And so now on the other side, there's Donald Trump, he absolutely hates the Inflation Reduction Act, thinks it's too many savings going on.
Okay.
And he has vowed to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. So then I just read an article about Jared Kushner, who is Trump's son-in-law, and he has a pretty big investment stake in a finance company called Mosaic. And Mosaic does all of what I've railed against is the loans that are at, where they go 1.99%, 2.99%, and then it's a 30 to 40% fee that's added onto the project. So it's not a fan, but they are, they're in the solar business, and Kushner his fund is ironically funded by Saudi Arabia and everyone, lots of Qatar investment companies, but he's like a 10%, according to this article in Politico. His investment firm has about 10% stake in Mosaic, which I believe is their biggest investor. So I will predict right now that if the 30% tax credit goes away, that will be the end of solar power, unfortunately, because it's tough right now. But if solar does, if it can survive, that 30% tax credit is still a massive incentive. But without it, it's going to be too tough, and that will be the end of solar. So that's why I wanted to talk about it today, because that would be the finish line, is when the tax credit gets repealed, or if there is no more solar tax credit, then that would be that, and then we're in an odd position for sure, because we'll have super high electricity rates and no real alternative. So what do you think?
Well, is that 30%? That's basically, you're saying that because the buyback, or like the payoff of the system, instead of being what it used to be like 3 or 4 years, now with NEM 3.0, it's whatever, 7 or 8 or 9 years. And now take that 30% tax credit out of there, and you're talking 13, 14, 15 years.
Potentially, yeah, and that's
a sale that's too difficult to make, because people will be like, I don't even know if the Earth is going to be here in 15 years.
We get a lot of that, yes. And people, when they're going solar, they're not quite at that spend any amount of money to get me solar. It's that pain point. So It's when somebody gets it used to be a $200 electricity bill. They're saying, oh my God, that's insane. We need to get $200. A lot of people would be very happy with that right now.
Yep.
And we're starting to get people, $1,800 electricity bill, and they're like, "Oh my God, how fast can you get solar on?" Because they've passed that pain point.
Mm-hmm.
If let's just say your electricity bill is $600 a month, but it's then going to cost you, $1,100 a month to finance solar. It's kind of not a great value position.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I have not had very many people, I would say the number is 0, who've asked me, how many tons of CO2 is this system going to save? And how many trees is this going to save? It is really, I've always liked solar because or I still like it because it combines a lot of benefits. If somebody's financially driven to save money, well, that's perfectly great. That lines up with solar, and it gets all these other goals accomplished at the same time.
Sure.
I'm a big fan of that. But without the tax credit, if it goes away completely, then unfortunately that would be that. And that's when every single solar company would be out of business. There's no one that could survive in that. So everyone, let's. So I guess we're voting for. We're pushing Jared Kushner. To convince his father-in-law that killing the solar industry not a great idea for his business, which is that Mosaic. So even though I don't support some Mosaic, it would be it's crazy that that one company could determine the end of the solar industry or not. So. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But everyone who's out there that's a solar enthusiast, whether you're in California, out of California, all over the world, we thank you for listening. We will continue to do the podcast as it comes around. But I think the solar industry would be long gone. Probably it was already. We're seeing lots and lots of companies, big ones, small ones, already not continuing, and huge companies that are seeing massive restructuring and layoffs and things like that. But this would be the coffin for the solar industry if the Inflation Reduction Act repealed the 30% tax credit, then that would be that. So, how's your summer going?
I feel so powerless about all this stuff, and I guess this does reinforce if you're on the fence about getting solar, then you better strike now, because it's not getting better. like the prices aren't going down. Like this will
Right.
be the best price you're ever going to see now, because next year the landscape will deteriorate and could it could deteriorate even more than it is now, and probably will. So I know Jamie doesn't have a crystal ball, but he sounds like he has a crystal brain. So that means as an expert in this, I would take that advice very seriously.
Yeah, we're seeing which way the wind is blowing, and on the Democratic side, we're not enthusiastic about how things are standing, but at least the 30% tax credit that was supposed to be till 2034 is supposed to be there, and so if a new president can come in and just cancel, well, I guess have to do it with Congress and everything, but cancel solar, then it is what Trump has said he's going to do. So that's not my favorite, but just as always, want to prepare people that as we're looking forward, looking ahead, let's keep that in mind. Solar is great, and if you have a solar panel system, don't just say, well, I already have solar, so too bad for everybody else. Solar is not it should be automatic, but if your system needs service, if your company, if they're no longer around and there are no solar companies around and that system breaks, it's going to be a challenge. So not impossible, but it's going to be a challenge. So I'm sure somebody will come around and create a service company and those kind of things, but it might be much better to keep your solar guys in business so they can service the existing systems.
But they also have to run a business that's not. They need to run a good business too. Everyone has to have some responsibility here.
Could not agree more.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting and always exciting in the world of solar. But yep, all right. And I have tons more to talk about, but we were at our time, so we'll wrap it up there.
Okay. Thank you very much for taking a few minutes out of your week to learn a little more about solar. And if you have a question for Jamie for an upcoming episode, you can go to our Facebook page, Straight Talk Solarcast, send us a message through there. If you'd like to check out a library of our past episodes, a question you have on solar, you can go to solarharmonics.com, click on the podcast link at the top of the page, and go to that library. And it's searchable. So any term you put in there, you can find out. Probably Jamie has spoken about it on podcast previously. If you have a friend considering going solar, this would be a great podcast to recommend to them because it will save them right now thousands upon thousands of dollars over the life of their system. So what better friend is that? We always ask. I don't know. Until next time, everyone. See you.
That's all for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of Straight Talk Solarcast with solar expert Jamie Duran. Join us each week for more answers to your solar questions. Speaking of questions, got some? Email us at solarcast@solarharmonics.com and we'll be sure to give you an answer in an upcoming episode. This episode of Straight Talk Solarcast is brought to you by Solar Harmonics, the leading solar energy developer in Northern California, who invite you to own your energy. Visit them on the web at www.solarharmonics.com.